Hello, my name is Christopher McCarthy and I'm running for president in 2020. I'm coming to you in this format because I don't believe there's much of a chance otherwise. Now, I don't have any money. I don't have the financial backing that the billionaires and millionaires have. Since I don't belong to a party, I'm a party of none, I don't have a political party to fall back on. So why am I coming to you? Well, especially you guys at 16, and older and up. You're going to be a voting age come the 2020 election. And when I was your age, it was hard. It was almost impossible. When you get to be my age, you get to be that, in your 20s, 19, 20, it's going to be almost impossible because there's a political rhetoric that's going on right now. Because you don't have a voice. Well, I want to be that voice. Yeah, I'm an old man. I got bifocals and I'm wrinkled and I'm gray and I got store-bought teeth. But that aside, I'm still, I don't remember what it was like. Right now I have a daughter that's going through it. And when you get that age, her age, you're going to go through even worse. See, back when I was younger, a wise president was in office. His name was John F. Kennedy. There's a speech he had, and this makes a lot of sense. In a decade of hope and fear, an age of both knowledge and ignorance, the greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. The vast stretches of the unknown, the unanswered, the unfinished, and still yet unfurnished, and the unfinished still outstrip our collective comprehension. Forgive me about that. I get tongue-tied. This country was conquered by those who move forward, and so will space, but some will say, why the moon? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of industrial revolution, the first wave of invention, the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be part of it. We need to lead it. We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained, new rights to be won and used for progress of all people. We who choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. And the others too. He also said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. This speech is as true today as it was back then. Today we're plagued with violence and fear. We're flooded by hateful talk and division from all sides. And there are those who want you to remain blind to their doings by the used car salesperson talk. We cannot. We must not. No, we will not let this be our driving force. We must look to the future as President John F. Kennedy did. We are better than that. We're greater than that. And we can do anything we put our minds to. We must unite and say with one voice, enough is enough. We are the people. We are the future. Let us choose to follow what Kennedy had started and do the things that should have been done all those many years ago. As President Kennedy said, we do this because it is hard, not because it is easy. The right things usually are hard. The important things are always hard. And the impossible is only that if we choose not to try. We have to think of greater things. We have to dream big and be able to achieve it with hard work and endurance. However, we need the chance. We need the ability to achieve it. Yes, there are new frontiers out there, and we must go there. And we must join together to make it happen. For you and those who follow your example. But first, we need to fight. We need to care for this planet. We need to make it safe for the future generations. We need to end the fossil fuels and use every bit of our being to transform this world, this nation, and to lead the age of electric power. We need to lead the world in solar power, wind power, and the likes. This is my challenge to the people before this decade is over, that this, our great nation, be nearly carbon free and has the first people not only on the moon, but Mars as well. Why? Because we can. We have done this in the past and we can do it again. Yes, they will say we are divided, even lost, that we can never do these things again. Let us prove them wrong. They said during the Revolutionary War we would fail, but they were wrong. They said we would lose the War of 1812, and they were wrong. They said we would lose the Civil War, and our enemies thought that we had failed as a country. But they were wrong. We reunited and were better for it. The Spanish thought they could defeat us during the Spanish-American War, but we had already joined together, and they failed. When the First World War broke out with the sinking of Lusitania, they thought we would back off, but they were wrong. As they did in the Second World War when they bombed Pearl Harbor, they thought that they could put forces to the table, make us kneel, but they were wrong. They said after Kennedy was killed, we were told we would never make it to the moon. And they were wrong again. They were wrong then and they're wrong now. We the people have never failed any task or any trial put before us, for we were united as one then, and we will not now nor ever fail. For we are one of many. We can because we the people of our great nation are the most intelligent, strongest, bravest people in the world. And we will not be bullied. We will not be frightened. We will not be oppressed. And we will no longer be held back, and we will no longer be told we cannot do anything. We the people can do all this because we are one. We are united. We are many faces, many colors, and many beliefs. Many cultures, but we are all the people, and we can do anything we set our minds to. My name is Christopher McCarthy, and I am going to be your voice as president, and together, we the people will do all these things. We the people. The Constitution has that. It states, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, that the health, welfare, liberty, and many other rights are yours. When I heard Trump say, let's make America great again, it made my blood boil. This has always been the greatest nation on earth. As a service member, I was offended in the worst way. So should every other service member who ever served. I was born in the poor section of Boston, Mass. My father died when I was 5. I had to grow up then. I worked shining shoes, selling newspapers, and pumping gas for to help my mother. Tried that at 5. We had days when we had nothing to eat. Rats running around and living in condemned buildings. But I had a dream to be an astronaut. A dream that was taken from me not because I was poor, not because of my grades, where I had a 4.0 average, excellent in math, physics, biology, and astrophysics. I learned of bigotry at the age of 7, when my abusive stepfather said I wasn't white enough to eat at his table. Even after I drove him off at the age 10, bigotry raised its ugly head again, but this time it was my last name, being Irish, and the best jobs were out of my reach. The only escape I thought I had was drugs and drinking. I found that, later on in life, those are the worst choices I ever made. Later, I was living in East Cambridge, and the only way to survive was joining a street gang. I was married in 1978 to an angel, and I still don't know what she ever saw in me, or how she could ever. I just don't understand. She was an angel. They had my firstborn in 1979. I had to work 2 jobs and still never made ends meet. I got a break when I was hired by TRW until one night I stopped a foreman from raping a young immigrant girl. The next day, I was told it would be better if I left instead of the foreman. My marriage was in trouble. I had thought the only way out was to join the army. And when the Iranian crisis happened, the words of John F. Kennedy came to me. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Gave me that final push. I thought there would be no more worries about money, and boy was I ever wrong. By paying Uncle Sugar and social disillusion and the ever bigger cuts from the FICA, whatever in the hell that is, and I wish somebody would tell me, and a few others, leaving me with a wife and child, $300 a month. So here I go again. I had to go back to work. A second job as a pizza delivery driver. Then in 1980, we thought we were going to get 11.5% raise, which, if anybody was back then, it was called Grand Rudman, which would have brought us out of poverty and off food stamps. I would have been able to quit my job. But those who served with me found the rug get pulled out from us by Congress, who said we only deserve 1.5% increase. Well, all they had to do was not vote against their pay raise of 50%, and they would get it. To add insult to injury, they said that they deserved it because their job was more dangerous than the military's. I've been shot at, blown up, hit up the head with a 2x4, stabbed, and had almost every bone in my body broken at least once. You're more likely to die from a plane crash than being in the Senate or Congress. Are you kidding? The expression bullet catcher is true when you're in the military. But because we were still below the poverty line, to keep the people from knowing the truth, they fudged the numbers on our LESs to make it seem like we were making more. Like housing pay, we never saw. Cost of living, again, we never saw. What they did was make it impossible to get food stamps or financial aid. Even as an E5 over 12 years with hazardous duty, in a combat zone with hazardous duty pay, special duty pay, overseas pay, I was only making 75 cents an hour when I worked it out. I can make more working at Walmart stocking shelves and not get shot at. I can make more at a Burger King and not have to worry about a bomb blowing up in my face. Really? Well, I'm not allowed to talk about what I did. I can say it cost me everything. First to go was my humanity, along with every emotion you can think of. And my family suffered for it. I was a monster. Then the war took my family. I dislocated my hip during the war and lost my Special Forces tab, my health, and finally my career. As for the VA, it took me 10 years to get my full disability. And then they said I had to pay back my early out bonus that they later returned. Wow, you would think that they would guess there was something really wrong with me after 3 heart attacks and 7 strokes. But you'd be wrong. When they finally found out it was blood clots, now that it's well treated, I've never had a stroke again or a heart attack. But first you have to understand how the VA works. Deny, deny, deny. They don't want the veterans getting any help, and many have died trying. No, it's not their fault. When I talked to them, they said the problem was funding. At one place they had a state-of-the-art operating room with all their machines covered because of lack of funding, and they were even renting buildings to make ends meet. I was a medical professional in the military, and this is what I've seen has horrified me. The treatment of the veterans, the care, the facilities, they're horrifying. While your Congress, Senator, and even your President are dancing around and laughing all the way to the bank. Scrooge had nothing on these guys. I have lived with the Apaches for the last 10 years and have listened to why they have just given up to hopelessness. And it is the same as everywhere else. No jobs, no future, no hope. Why is it we are the richest country in the world and we still have children starving and homelessness? We are the only industrialized nation in the free world without free education, free medical in the world. Hell, even Cuba gets that. They get free education and free medical, and they're a third world nation. Yay! Bye. Do not let them BS you about that being socialism. It's just plain greed that keeps it from happening. The Constitution of the United States guarantees these to you. It is the duty of this nation to make sure that happens. It has always been the duty of this nation. They get everything, you get nothing. Why should they get the best schools money can buy, and your schools are falling apart with books that don't even have my war in them? Children are freezing in the winter and burning in the summer. Teachers are getting so badly paid.